Good morning, zookeepers, and welcome back to Mesa Zoo on Planet Zoo. Today we're going to be doing something I've been wanting to make an enclosure for a while, and that being the kangaroo. Now, as you see right now, I'm doing this basic system or getting myself set up. I know, like, there's loads of ways of doing it where you have it a certain distance, have it on a certain angle lock, so then you can easily do it. But honestly, I really do like freehanding it when I'm spinning it around. I feel like I get a kind of a better result than what I do, and also it means I don't have to. I'm not like locked to a particular distance from the mud beam, so I can make it as big or as short as I want to, and it just makes things really easy for me. Right now, I'm just making this like barrier. For some reason, when I was making it, I was like, oh yeah, I can't select the glass because that's locked on, not realising it was a free-form one and not an on-the-grid glass. But yeah, as you can see right now, I'm doing that little thing where I'm spinning it around. I picked two openings, one side to have an area for the keepers to go through, and then I like the fake, yeah, I'd say it's fake, the fake animal like entrance where you can get them in, so that, you know, if you had these tranked, you'd have them on a trailer, and technically this would be the way you'd put them through. And I kind of sunk it into the ground so it's near enough the same height as the fence, and I really like that idea. It also means you can get your wheelbarrows in easier, etc, etc. In the middle of this enclosure, I really wanted like a little hut. Originally I was going for that circle kind of vibe, but then I sort of changed it in the end. I did quite like the idea of having it sort of like it was just rough and tough put up, not just like completely decorated and designed, almost like it was left to a couple of keepers who had a spare afternoon to add it. That's why I used this chipboard, and it has a really nice look to it. And then I wanted some ventilation through there as well, so a little bit later on I'll be adding like the mesh windows all the way around. Currently I'm just adding some like decoration to it, so it's not just a chipboard attached to the poles. And yes, the poles are decorated, and I could have used that a bit more, but you can sort of see it from the angle when you can see inside of the hut. And I really enjoyed the way this looks. Like, it's very rough and tough. It's been put there as like a windbreaker. I can imagine it being slightly windy on top of a Mesa, or more extremely windy compared to being on the ground, with it being quite high up. So I just added a few decorations. Like, no, they've made an attempt to make it less handmade looking, and it just adds to the enclosure, I feel, especially when I get around to adding the sand. I feel like everything somewhat blends in. So I did go over the board on plants. Like, I really, because this is a big creature, it wasn't get hidden by like plants that very, like, not as much as get hidden by plants. And I feel like it kind of added to the enclosure. We had like sandy areas and etc, so it did fill that, so it did fill that up area in a sense. Anyways, I did build that little rock structure there, something I was pretty excited by. I was like, I'll make it anyways this way, not expecting the kangaroos to be able to use it, 'cause sometimes when I make rock structures, they're just unusable by a lot of animals, and I just wanted a few rocks in there as decoration. It turns out they can climb up that ramp, which I was very excited by. It's something I'd probably place more in a lion enclosure or any other big cat than a kangaroo, but it was great seeing the kangaroos sat at the top with their like different enrichment items. As you can see, what I meant by adding a lot of grass, and I used it to shape out some paths where I'm going to put the sand, so it looks like they've been, like, you know, it's been shredded down that much that plants aren't going to grow in that particular area. And it just makes it look interesting. There's different paths and things like this, and I love it when the kangaroos stand on the plants and they lie down, because they're kind of hidden by it when they lie down. So it kind of makes for some interesting shots and like screenshots, and it's just fun to watch them like explore the enclosure in that kind of way. So it always looks like they're rummaging in the plants, and like I said, when they sit down, it's absolutely great because they just disappear to the point where you can only see like the top of their ears. So at one point I was looking in the enclosure, I was like, where are the kangaroos? And I had to look at like from a bird's eye view to figure out where they were, because the majority of them were let down in these little grassy patches. And it was great. I was like, oh, that's an awesome aspect to it. You could walk past this enclosure and not see anything and be like, oh, where is it? Where are they all? Have they escaped? Which initially was my first thought. And it just looks great. And I love the fact when he's standing here and they're sort of looking around. Like, this is probably one of my favourite shots. You see as he like sort of like ducked down, and he's almost disappeared, and when they lie down they completely disappear. I should have really got a shot of them when they were led down to just show what I meant. Like when they lie down like this here in the grass, they just completely disappear, and it is great. I keep calling it grass, I'm pretty sure it's a bush, but I was sort of using it as a dried grass substitute. And then this ground plant I added around, so it sort of like appeared out onto the grass and the surroundings, which I thought was a really interesting look. But honestly, I absolutely love these kangaroos. They're a great addition, and possibly my favourite creature from the Australian pack. I mainly got the Australian pack for the building items, not really initially thinking about critters. And honestly, I've used the koala bear, I've used the cassowary, I'm pretty sure that's in the Australian pack. I also love the cassowary, but then the kangaroos, yeah, I just remembered it was literally for the cassowary and the building materials that I bought the Australian pack, and I haven't really used much of any other critter in there. I did make that one enclosure for the koala bear. I keep saying koala bear. As a kid, we're always taught it's a koala bear, and I don't know why, because it is literally just a koala, not a koala bear. And I'm pretty sure that's down to like brands that's made me like think that as well. Even though I know it's called a koala, I'll still call it a koala bear. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this and it's given you some inspiration for your builds. And thank you for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.